Yo, what to do, everybody? This is Final Fantasy here, and I just want to take some time and talk about StarOcean First Departure R for the Nintendo Switch. I recently beat the game, and I have some thoughts and some feelings, and I guess we're going to talk about it right now. Honestly, the main reason I bought this game is because the art direction looked really appealing. I was scrolling through the Switch store, and I saw a few screenshots, and I said, hey, this sprite work really looks nice in this game, and you know what, I don't think I'd mind playing it. And so I decided to take this game for a ride. And I have to say, this is a pretty average RPG. It's a nice game, and that's kind of all I can say, really. There's nothing too highly praisable. There's nothing I can say that didn't meet any of my expectations. This was a very average RPG, and I had a decent time playing it. I wouldn't say I had tons of fun, but it did keep me glued to my screen, that's for sure. And that has to do mostly with, I'd say, the gameplay. The combat is immersive. You have a huge team and a huge roster to choose from, so you can mix and match how you fight the enemies on the battlefield. You can control one character at a time, with the AI controlling the other 3 members of your party. So in total, you essentially get control of 4 characters. Now, although you have control of 4 characters and you have a huge roster, there are some characters that are just genuinely better than the others. There's skill points and skills that characters can learn, and some characters just, for example, Joshua is my dedicated healer. What I didn't know is that Joshua neither is a healer nor is he a dark mage. He's just a little bit of both. There are other characters I could have chose from that embodied the whole healer class or the whole dark magic class. Now, the problem is I didn't know that until late game, where the difficulty spike really goes up and the enemies start really hitting you back. And by then I realized, hey, Joshua doesn't have the revive spell, and I don't think he's going to be getting that anytime soon. He also doesn't have a lot of the better dark magic spells. And so I had to kind of rethink the way my team was, and I had to add a different character. And now that was really hard to do, because here I am in the latter half of the game and my team is kind of already set. I'm really used to the team that I have. I have been playing them for over half of the game, so why now should I change them? But nonetheless, I did, because I had to. And that's where I was like, you know, I need to just finish this game as fast as I can. But adding new characters to my team means I'm gonna have to grind. And that was very difficult, because StarOcean First Departure R is pretty unforgiving when it comes to save points. You can save in the overworld, and you can save if you find a safe spot. But you can't save willy-nilly. There isn't an autosave, and there are no save states. So most of the time, if you are not able to save and you die, you're gonna have to restart from your last save. And that means there is a possibility that you're gonna be losing hours of the game that you painstakingly grinded. And that happened to me often. So often that I wanted to pretty much quit. But alas, I powered through it. So combat aside, the item creation mechanic in this game is really cool. You can basically gather resources and meld them together to create items, weapons, and armor. And that usually depends on the skill level of the character creating that item. So you can have characters with skill points in certain categories that can produce some really strong items and weapons to help you out in the game. And similar with the food creation, you can have characters that can learn special abilities that can create food that'll give you buffs and debuffs. And this is great, except your inventory is limited. game makes it really hard for you to carry or hoard items, as you could only carry 20 of each item. That means 20 potions, 20 revives, and 20 ethers. Similar with your foods, you can only carry 20 of each food item. So this kind of makes grinding a little hard because you can't just go to a store, buy them out, and then go grind for hours. You kind of have to grind, and as soon as you reach a certain point where your characters are dying, head back, grab any items or resources that you need, come back and grind. And I felt like this is where the game kind of stopped being fun for me, because with the new characters I added to my team because of their skill set that I needed, it was basically hours of grinding just so I can get through the latter half of the game. And that'd be great if the story kept up, but there was a huge issue with pacing, in my opinion. It felt like a lot of the story was dragging along in the beginning, and then in the latter half they just kind of vomited out everything at you. And although they do try to make a great connection between the beginning of the story and the end of the story, I feel like it wasn't really necessary. It almost felt like the story had ended and they needed something to keep you going, so they just added more stuff near the end that kind of didn't really fit, but they said, hey, you know, how about you guys imagine it fits? And you know what, if that's true, then that's great, but I don't have such a good imagination, so I couldn't really make it fit for me. And so I was actually really glad to just have the game finish and done. I'd probably give this game a solid like 6.5. I enjoyed playing it in the beginning. I didn't really enjoy the latter half, and would I pick it up again? I'm not sure, but it definitely brought me back into StarOcean series, and I'm not sure if that's what they were aiming for, but hey, I kind of want to play StarOcean Second R for the Switch that's coming out this year. And yeah, that's what I think about this game. You know, like, subscribe, comment down what you think and what your experience is with this game. I'm Final Fantasy, and I will catch y'all later.